Usually this diagram is attributed to Aristotle. However, this is entirely wrong. Sometimes they also draw this diagram, which is also attributed to Aristotle. But this is also entirely wrong. Your teachers lied to you.
Hello, class. I'm Mr. English, and the first person to make a decent treatise on story structure was Aristotle. Aristotle who made this model, the 3-act structure.
Mr. English? Mr. English? You're wrong.
안녕하세요, 김유미입니다. Hello, I'm Yumi Kim, your fantastic, but not quite all-knowing guide to world literature. Today we're looking at Aristotle's Poetics and what he actually said about story structure, not what your literature teachers and professors taught you. All references are in the description box below. I admit I got a little bit of a boost on this essay from Dr. J.T. Velikovsky, who forced me to reread Poetics. Then I doubted all of the stories that I've learned about story and dramatic structure. For those who have never heard of the Misogynist called Aristotle, he lived in Athens, which is now the capital of Greece. He lived in 384 BCE to 322 BCE. He's considered a philosopher, but not a playwright, and probably got more popular in Tudor England, because at that time they were looking for the roots of English literature and civilization in the classics. That only doubled down over the years. The major text that people analyze for story structure from Aristotle is Poetics. Aristotle argued for the 2-act model.
But he said 3 parts.
No, Mr. English. Now, a whole is that which has beginning, middle, and end. A beginning is that which is not itself necessarily after anything else, and which has naturally something else after it. An end is that which is naturally after something itself, either as its necessary or usual consequent, and with nothing else after it. And a middle that which is by nature after one thing, and has also another after it. A well-constructed plot, therefore, cannot either begin or end at any point one likes. Beginning and end in it must be of the forms just described. Aristotle, Poetics 7. In plain English, beginning has stuff after it, middle has stuff before and after it, and has stuff before it. Super brilliant! Hey, if I use Greek in my definition, can I sound smart? Does that make me a definition wizard? No, it's not your time yet. I'm sorry. Also, some stories do start in the middle. What about frames? Because with frames, it might start way in the future. It might start in the past. It might start in the middle. Aristotle never said that he wanted those 3 things to be acts. And the play was divided into complication and then conclusion. There is a further point to be borne in mind. Every tragedy is in part complication and in part denouement. The incidents before the opening scene and often certain also of those within the play forming the complication and the rest the denouement. By complication, I mean all from the beginning of the story to the point just before the change in the hero's fortunes. By denouement, all from the beginning of the change to the end. In the Lynkesa Theosaies, for instance, the complication includes, together with the presupposed incidents, the seizure of the child, and that in turn of the parents, and the denouement all from the indictment for the murder to the end. Now it is right when one speaks of a tragedy as the same or not the same as another, to do so on the ground before all else of their plot, i.e. as having the same or not the same complication and denouement. Yet there are many dramatists who, after a good complication, fail in the denouement, but it is necessary for both points of construction to be always duly mastered. Aristotle, Poetics 18. The source says denouement, but denouement was not in place until the 19th century for story structure, and only was imported into the English language in 1752. He also said, "Of simple plots and actions, the episodic are the worst." Aristotle Poetics 10. But that's not the only thing he argued for. He also argued for the 16-act play. The parts were Prologue, Parode, Episode 1, Stasimon 1, Episode 2, Stasimon 2, Episode 3, Stasimon 3, Episode 4, Stasimon 4, Episode 5, Stasimon 5, Exode. So this is what he specifically said. The parts of tragedy to be treated as formative elements in the whole were mentioned in a previous chapter. From the point of view, however, of its quantity, i.e. the separate sections into which it is divided, a tragedy has the following parts: prologue, episode, exode, and a choral portion. Distinguished into parode and stasimon, these two are common to all tragedies, whereas songs from the stage and komoi are only found in some. The prologue is all that precedes the parode of the chorus, an episode all that comes in between two whole choral songs. The exode all that follows after the last choral song. In the choral portion, the parode is the whole which first statement of the chorus. A stasimon, a song of the chorus without anapes or trochees. A commas, a lamentation song sung by chorus and actor in concert. The parts of tragedy to be used as formative elements in the whole we have already mentioned. The above are parts from the point of view of its quantity or separate sections into which it is divided. Aristotle, Poetics 12. Therefore, Aristotle never argued for the 3 acts. Aristotle's ideal play was long, simple, and could be memorized, and then had a fantastic chorus. The characters did not matter at all. Character in a play is that which reveals the moral purpose of the agents, i.e. the sort of thing they seek or avoid where that is not obvious. Hence, there is no room for character in a speech on a purely indifferent subject. Thought, on the other hand, is shown in all they say when proving or disproving some particular point or enunciating some universal proposition. Fourth among the literary elements is the diction of the personages, i.e., as before explained, the expression of their thoughts in words, which is practically the same thing with verse as with prose. As for the 2 remaining parts, the melody is the greatest of the pleasurable accessories of tragedy. The spectacle, though an attraction, is the least artistic of all the parts, and has least to do with the art of poetry. Aristotle, Poetics 6. He said, "The unity of a plot does not consist, as some suppose, in its having one man as its subject." Aristotle, Poetics 8. This might mean that your teacher was exactly like you. They were given the text to read but never finished reading it because they were jacked up on a cup of ramen and sleep deprivation, so they never got past Poetics 7. Or is that just me? He also argues for the emotional artist who is mad. Given the same natural qualifications, he who feels the emotions to be described will be the most convincing. Distress and anger, for instance, are portrayed most truthfully by one who is feeling them at the moment. Hence it is that poetry demands a man with special gift for it, or else one with a touch of madness in him. The former can easily assume the required mood, and the latter may be actually beside himself with emotion. Aristotle, Poetics 17. Also, Aristotle argued for morality taught through negative reinforcement. 2 parts of the plot, then, peripety and discovery, are on matters of this sort. A 3rd part is suffering, which we may define as an action of a destructive or painful nature, such as murders on the stage, tortures, woundings, and the like. The other 2 have been already explained. Aristotle, Poetics 11. So he believed if you want to reinforce morality, you do it through fear and panic. But it's not like he had access to Freud and modern psychology. Because these days, people believe that you do it through positive reinforcement. Imagine a literary agent. They're going through the manuscripts, and then they come across a book that has a choral portion, sheet music. And then if they actually get to the novel, they'll find very flat characters. Then a lot of fancy words. And oh, yeah. Rejection. It's also notable that he's known for his misogynistic and pro-slavery point of views. Such goodness is possible, i.e. very type of personage, even in a woman or a slave, though one is perhaps an inferior, and the other a wholly worthless being. The second point is to make them appropriate. The character before us may be, say, manly, but it is not appropriate in a female character to be manly or clever. Aristotle, Poetics 15. You see, the reason that he was initially liked was because of his terrible views on women and slaves. But as that became a less popular point of view, people still tried to emphasize his importance.
Me. But it was the times.
I direct you to look at Lycurgus of Sparta. He was pro-women, though kind of still pro-slavery. Then there was Plato before Aristotle. Aristotle mainly sampled two people. Those were Homer and Sophocles. He declared that Sophocles was better of the two, and from that we're supposed to worship his analysis of all story structure and then use it for all stories. It is notable Aristotle posited that ethics was formed through friendship, pleasure, virtue, honor, and wealth. You can read more in the description box below. So as we continue, you will find that it's mostly white, cis, het, abled men who are lording over marginalized communities on the correct way to write stories. So let's summarize. Aristotle was a pro-slavery, misogynistic pig, and he couldn't define a beginning, middle, or end well. He wanted a continuous play. He was against character and thought that morality could be taught through negative reinforcement. If any of your teachers taught you that he came up with a 3-act story structure, they are wrong. They most likely did not read past Poetics 7. If you follow his prescription these days to the letter, then you're going to give your literary agent or script agent a royal headache, and then you will get a rejection. So let's get back. If Aristotle didn't argue for the 3-act, who did? And who told everybody that he did? You might find out in our next episode, but you might have to hang on a little bit longer. So subscribe. Don't subscribe. Like or hate the video. But if you're going to comment, please leave reliable sources in a way that we can verify. And be civil about disagreements. So read more, explore more, see more, love more literature. Let literature light up your world. If Aristotle wasn't such a misogynist, maybe I would be able to tolerate people holding him up as the pinnacle of philosophy and science. It's not that I don't think he is worth studying, but so many times people reference him without talking about how problematic he was, or the real people who contributed to our contemporary understanding of those things, like the Islamic Empire and Islamic scientists. And Aristotle's humor system sucks. If you Google Aristotle and women, there are at least 10 different papers by white cis het men on how he wasn't misogynistic for his times. And there are white women who want to defend him and say, don't cancel him, but then entirely ignore previous and contemporary philosophers who weren't as bad as him.